Hi guys, Dr. Rob Barrington here with some more nutritional advice. I'd like to talk today about 5 foods that people mistakenly believe are healthy. Okay, the first food that most people believe is a healthy food that I consider to be an unhealthy food, I've talked about it a lot: fruit juice. Fruit juice is considered to be a healthy food because it comes from fruit, and the assumption is that the nutrients within the fruit and the benefits you get from eating fruit are also benefits you get from drinking fruit juice. However, this is not the case. If we look in the nutritional literature, studies that have looked at people who consume fruit juice show that they have the same biochemical reactions as those people who consume soft drinks. And the reason for this is fairly simple. When you take the sugar from the fruit and you remove the fibre, you are in essence creating a soft drink. Drinking fruit juice is no different to consuming soft drinks. Soft drinks are now known to be drivers of obesity. They also cause the metabolic syndrome. They also are associated with an increased risk of diseases such as cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. If you are drinking fruit juice and you believe it is a healthy drink, you are misguided. It is no different from drinking a soft drink, and it is one of the foods that most people believe are healthy, and in fact is a very unhealthy food. So I would avoid fruit juice, especially commercially available fruit juice, in all forms. Any fruit that has the fibre removed and the sugar processed into a drink is an unhealthy food. Okay, so the second food that many people mistakenly believe is a healthy food is pasta. Many people who want to lose weight, they look towards what they consider to be healthy foods, and I know many people who try to lose weight do turn towards pasta. Pasta is considered for some reason to be a healthy weight loss type food, perhaps because it's low in fat. However, pasta has a very high glycemic index. What we tend to do also is we tend to overeat pasta. We eat large amounts of it, and the amount of the carbohydrate and its glycemic index together give it a very high glycemic load, and this means that it pushes a lot of energy into the blood. This energy, this mainly starch energy, the glucose, overloads the liver with energy. It overloads the liver with nutrients, and causing the liver overload syndrome. The liver shifts its metabolism from one of resynthesizing glycogen to synthesizing fatty acids. These fatty acids then build up in the liver, they build up in the skeletal muscle, and they cause insulin resistance. And once insulin resistance has developed, it is very difficult to reverse, and insulin resistance is associated with weight gain, it's associated with cardiovascular disease, it's associated with type 2 diabetes, and it's associated with the metabolic syndrome. Now, if you're currently consuming pasta in the belief that it is a healthy food, or perhaps because it's going to help you lose weight, I would suggest that you cease this practice immediately, because it will be having the opposite effect. What you need to do is shift your carbohydrate and your starch consumption more towards vegetables and away from pasta and other very, very starchy, refined foods. Now, some people will argue that wholemeal pasta is better than white pasta. But if we look at the glycemic indexes, they're very similar. That means they will have a very similar glycemic load, and that means they will both overload the liver with nutrients, and therefore there is very little to tell between refined white pasta and wholemeal pasta. I would avoid all sorts of pasta, particularly if you're trying to lose weight. If you're an athlete and you're very physically active, you may want to consume pasta for the extra energy that it provides, particularly after a workout. But if you are sedentary, it is very likely adding problems, metabolic problems, to your biochemistry, which will be very difficult to reverse. So the third food that many people mistakenly believe as being a healthy food are the low-fat processed foods that are created mainly for those people who wish to lose weight. The vast majority of the population believes that weight loss, the key to weight loss, is to cut calories, and further to this, many people believe that the way to cut calories, the most efficient way to cut calories, is to remove fat from the diet, because fat contains twice as many calories per gram as both carbohydrate and protein. Now, this is a strategy that was doomed to fail. However, these people, because they want to cut their fat from their diet, but many people don't want to give up those treats and those tasty foods, they turn to these low-fat foods that are created by the food industry. However, these foods are poisonous. They contain high amounts of sugar. They remove the fat from such foods and they replace it with sugar. This sugar contains fructose. Fructose is a metabolic poison. It damages the liver. It increases the rate of de novo lipogenesis. It increases the production of fatty acids from the liver. These fatty acids build up in skeletal muscle and the liver. They cause insulin resistance. And as you know, insulin resistance is a driver of obesity. So low-fat foods are grow-fat foods. If you want to fail in your diet efforts, if you want to go on a diet and make no progress, make sure you incorporate lots of these processed low-fat foods, because I guarantee that if you eat them, you will get fat. You will certainly not lose weight. Now, further to this, it's the metabolic damage that they cause that leads to problems down the road. Once you have developed these metabolic problems, once you have developed insulin resistance from these foods, it is very, very difficult to reverse. So I would suggest that anybody who wants to lose weight, anybody who is interested in their health, avoids all of these processed low-fat foods. Okay, so the fourth food that most people mistakenly believe as being healthy is the ready-made breakfast cereal. Now, there are a few exceptions to this. I won't name any brands, but I will say that oats is a very healthy breakfast cereal. There are a number of other breakfast cereals that contain a lot of fibre. They contain most of their original cereal grain, including the fibre. They contain the bran, they contain the endosperm, and they contain the germ of the cereal grain. They can be considered whole grain breakfast cereals, and they are reasonably healthy as long as they're not overeaten. However, what I'm talking about is the refined processed breakfast cereal that we are told has had vitamins added to it, that is very low in calories, and is marketed specifically at those people wanting to lose weight. Unfortunately, this is a large con, because as with some of the other foods that I've already mentioned, these foods have a high glycemic index, and that means that when you eat them, the glucose within them rushes into the blood. This glucose overloads the liver. The liver, in response, switches its metabolism towards production of fatty acids. These fatty acids build up in skeletal muscle and the liver, and they cause insulin resistance. And as we know, insulin resistance is a driver of obesity. These cereals that are marketed at people who want to lose weight, unfortunately, they are having the opposite effect in these people. Biochemically, they are causing these people to gain weight, to develop insulin resistance, and to increase their risk of disease. If you are interested in your health, and if you are particularly interested in losing body fat, I would avoid all ready-made breakfast cereals that do not contain their original fibre, their original bran, and their original micronutrients. In other words, they have to be virtually unprocessed. Oats is a very good example of this. A bowl of porridge oats, generally what happens is they roll the oats to crush them, and then they put them in a bag. Very minimal processing. Some of these other breakfast cereals that claim to have vitamins and minerals added, yes, they do have vitamins and minerals added, but that's because they've already removed all the vitamins and minerals that are present in the bran and the fibre. They have to put these vitamins back in because otherwise you would be consuming a product devoid of all nutrition whatsoever. So if you are interested in your health, if you're trying to lose weight, I suggest you avoid these ready-made breakfast cereals, particularly the ones that are low in calories and marketed specifically at people who want to lose weight. Now, the fifth and final food that many people mistakenly believe as being healthy is skimmed milk. I'm not saying that here that skimmed milk is an unhealthy food. I'm saying that people mistakenly believe it to be healthier than whole milk, and this is not true. Let's have a look at what happens when we skim the milk. We remove the fat from the milk, and what is left is some of the carbohydrate and some of the protein. There is nothing wrong with drinking skim milk. It won't do you any harm, but it won't do you any good either. In fact, many people turn to skim milk because they want to lose weight, and this goes back to the fallacy of the calorie counting. Many people believe that the way to lose weight is to cut calories, and many people believe the best way to do that is to remove fat from their diet, so they turn to skim milk. Now, this is a big mistake because milk contains a substance called conjugated linoleic acid. A number of studies in the nutritional literature have looked at dairy consumption, they've looked at milk consumption, they've looked at all sorts of products from dairy, and it is those people who consume the most dairy, including whole-fat dairy, that are the leanest. There is an association between the consumption of dairy products and how lean you are. The reason for this is the conjugate likely, it's not proven, but it's very likely that the conjugated linoleic acid in milk, in the fat, is a weight loss food. Now, is there any evidence that conjugated linoleic acid causes weight loss in mammals? Yes, there is. There's lots of studies that have fed animals, fed humans conjugated linoleic acid, and it is a weight loss nutrient. It causes adipocytes to alter their metabolism, and this causes the amount of body fat you have to go down. So if you are avoiding whole milk because you don't like it, that's a good reason. Some people don't like the taste of whole milk. They prefer the taste of skimmed or semi-skimmed milk. However, if you are avoiding whole milk because you believe it is going to make you slimmer, if you are avoiding whole milk because you believe the fat in whole milk is damaging to your health, you are mistaken. And there is another reason actually to drink whole milk. Whole milk contains fat, it contains protein, it contains carbohydrate. Protein and fat, when consumed together, actually decrease the gastric emptying rate, and they improve satiety. Studies have shown that if you add fat and protein to a meal, you can increase the satiety felt by the person, and therefore they are likely to consume less food at that sitting. So consuming skimmed milk in the belief that it will make you slim is a fallacy. Certainly the nutritional literature doesn't support this claim. Only the people who believe that cutting fat from their diet and those people who believe in calorie counting can see this as a strategy that will work, and unfortunately the literature does not support calorie counting or removing fat from your diet as an effective strategy in weight loss. So therefore, if you are consuming skim milk as you believe it's a healthy food, I would suggest you reconsider your opinion on this. So here we have 5 foods that many people mistakenly believe are healthy. Certainly, I would consider removing all fruit juice and all processed low-fat foods from my diet. I would also consider removing all refined breakfast cereals. There is a place for pasta in the diet, as long as it's not overconsumed, and there's nothing actually unhealthy about skimmed milk, but many people do mistakenly believe it to be a healthier alternative than whole milk, and that's not true. Now, while I've been talking, I've actually thought of another food that many people believe to be healthy. So I'm going to give you a bonus food. You're going to have 5 plus a bonus food, and the bonus food is refined supermarket oils. Many people believe that cooking in lard, cooking in butter, very bad for the health because of the cholesterol, so they turn to refined supermarket oils. And we're talking about the colourless, tasteless oils that you find on the shelves of supermarkets: corn oil, sunflower oil, those sorts of oils. Many people cook in them. Many people believe that because they are made of polyunsaturated fats and they have no cholesterol in them, that they're healthy alternatives. However, these are refined oils. These oils have been through processing steps, and the original fatty acids that were present in the plant material, many of them have been altered, many of them are oxidized, and there are many toxic chemicals, certainly toxic to humans, within the oils. If you regularly consume these oils, it's been shown in the nutritional literature that you increase your risk of many types of diseases, particularly cancer. And the reason for this is that a lot of the fatty acids are oxidized. Those oxidized fatty acids pass into the body and they cause huge increases in free radical generation. Now, the original plant material that contained these oils contains very small amounts of the oil. It also contains lots of antioxidants, so that when you consume these oils, they're protected from the oxygen, they're protected from light. When they enter your body, you take in the antioxidants with the oils to be able to protect them in your body. When you process these oils out into the colourless, odourless supermarket oils, you are in effect creating a toxic product. Many people consume these types of oils and fry in them, believing them to be healthy. However, of all the foods I've mentioned, these are probably the most dangerous. I would avoid all of these oils, avoid all products with any of these oils in them. Even small amounts of these oils are going to increase your risk of disease. Now, there is no lower limit for the amount of trans fatty acids that are safe. Nobody knows the amount of trans fatty acids you can consume without increasing your risk of cancer, without increasing your risk of cardiovascular disease. And that's because studies are showing that even very, very small amounts of trans fatty acids that might be found in products such as these refined oils are very, very toxic to human biochemistry. And in particular, they interfere with essential fatty acid metabolism. And this means, in effect, if you consume a lot of these oils, you're very likely to get an essential fatty acid deficiency, deficiency, which is similar to a vitamin or mineral deficiency. And this is probably why one of the reasons that they increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and increases the risk of cancer. So if you're consuming these oils in the belief that they're healthy, I would certainly reconsider consuming any of these oils. Certainly don't cook in them, because when you take a processed refined oil that's been damaged by heat and light and you expose it to high amounts of heat, you are exacerbating the damage that is caused to that oil. You then consume that oil, it will cause you very severe metabolic dysfunction. If you happen to keep these oils and reheat them, some people keep the oil in a pot, they reheat them, that is even worse. There is evidence in the nutritional literature that the more you reuse these oils, the higher your risk of diseases such as cancer. So we have 5 foods, one of them's not so unhealthy, and then a bonus food on top of that. These foods should really, except for the milk, should really be avoided completely. If you like skimmed milk because of the taste, that is fair enough. However, don't drink skimmed milk because you think it's going to help you lose weight, because it won't.